Welcome. Pardon me. You can tell it's sinus and allergy season. My name is Damon Brown. You're watching Bringingworth TV. I'm an entrepreneurial coach here to help you as a side hustler, solopreneur, otherwise non-traditional entrepreneur. Bringingworth TV comes to you live on Wednesdays at 1:11 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, Vegas time. You can subscribe for free at the main channel, or you can go and check it out at various channels, including over on Twitch as well as over on Spotify for the older episodes. Check it out. Support it over there. You'll get more episodes coming. My 27th book, the complete Bring Your Worth collection, is out now. You get it all your fine favorite bookstores. If you want a signed copy, come directly to me at damebrown.net. If you happen to be in a place where the major audiobook places are not available, you can listen for free at the channel right now at the link below. Maybe you can do that after we finish hanging out. It's about 8 hours of programming. I think you'd appreciate it and captures all the major and including the best-selling books over the past 7 or so years that I've been supporting y'all with Bring Your Worth content. Next weekend, very excited about that. It is the IIJ 2025 Freelance Conference. That's the Institute for Independent Journalism. I go way back with the founder of it, Catherine Lewis. Hope you're doing fantastic. She's had a great run when it started, probably during the pandemic. I believe it started during the pandemic. I want to say 2019, 2020, about supporting independent journalists. If you don't know my background, I have 2 degrees in journalism, master's in magazine publishing. Excuse me. Shout out to Northwestern. And so a lot of my work to this day and the way I've been able to support my family, support y'all, has been through freelance journalism, freelance writing for Playboy, the New York Post, ARP, the magazine, Costco magazine. You might see my column in there every once in a while. Just a lot of cool stuff that I've been able to do. I wish this type of support was available when I had started. Shout out to the American Society of Journalists and Authors, as well as to IIJ. They're both doing fantastic work. IIJ has their conference coming up. Excuse me. That will be happening the weekend after next, February 27th, 28th. I'm actually supporting them. If you go and use the special code, exclusive if y'all, because you can tell, because my name's on there, you can tell them that Damon sent you, and y'all get an exclusive Bring Your Worth TV discount. Take advantage of it. It's going to be online. It's going to be some bangers of keynoters there. I'm not even going to get into the list. Just check it out. Go to the website. If you're interested in freelance writing and freelance content, or you already are a freelance journalist and you're trying to get out there, check it out, see what's happening. And that's what's happening with that. Shout out to Catherine. I think you guys are going to have a wonderful conference next week. Definitely get in while you can. I don't know if they're going to sell out or not. Jump on there while you can. It's all online. So if you're like me and we got little kids at home, actually, my kids are a little bit taller now. Wish they were a little bit shorter, but they're a little bit taller now. They're growing up so fast. If you got little kids at home or dependents, whatever, or you're not able to travel because of the crazy weather, don't worry about it. It's online. They got you. They're also going to be having replays after the fact if you happen to miss some of the content. In case you missed it, speaking of content, last week we got together and we talked about disaster preparedness for entrepreneurs. It sounds very like apocalypse not like, but it's not. We actually do need to find ways to back up our content, particularly us who are solopreneurs. We'll get into that in a second. But those of us who are solopreneurs, where we're running the show, if we're not doing the work, then the work isn't happening. And we're human. Again, you hear a little bit of congestion from me because of the weird weather. And we've had rain over the last few days in Las Vegas. You can tell the weather's a little bit nutty right now here in February, but the show has to go on literally, and I mean that in a meta way, double entendre. The show has to go on. Setting up those backups for you personally when you're under the weather, for your business, for your future. Again, I got little kids, and so there's certain provisions that I've taken to make sure that I can protect my intellectual property and other things for them. I could always do more. You could always do more, but this episode was a really good start, I believe, to the provisions we can make to help protect our future and protect our business no matter what happens. Today's show, Getting Your Money Together 2025, business, budget, taxes, and investing. Pardon me. Cheers to that. What we really are going to get into, achieved by the beautiful thumbnail featuring Samuel L. Jackson, from his performance at Kendrick Lamar's Super Bowl game a couple weeks ago, playing Uncle Sam. Whether you're in the United States or another place that works with taxes, because some places don't. Shout out to Monaco. But if you are a tax in a tax-based system, then there's certain provisions you need to lean into for the law. So we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about the nitty gritty stuff that runs your business. We're talking about tools that will help you get your budget together personally as well as professionally. For a lot of us, our business is our business. We don't work for anybody else. So getting our budget together personally actually does affect our business. We're talking about tools that'll help you get your taxes together. If you're based in the United States, then you probably know tax day every year is on April 15th. If it's a holiday, then it's the day before, the day after that. But April 15th, mid-April is that time. Right now, it is, as we are speaking, February 19th. And so that means that in about 2 months, the taxes are due. You got to have your paperwork and got to have your tools together. I've already been working on it. My family's been working on it. Hopefully, this will get you in gear. But if you are feeling stuck, there's some tools that help you out. I'm going to recommend a couple here. And of course, investing as far as putting hopefully that passive income and other things that you're getting and putting that to work for you. Very, very prescriptive episode. So if you have any suggestions or things that you want me to address in regards to budget, taxes, or investing, I am not a CPA. I'm not a professional. I'm just, I'm just a humble business coach. But if there's insight that I can give or insight that you would like to give, feel free to jump in the comments. All right, so let's get into it. The first thing is getting your taxes on point. As I mentioned, here in the United States, tax day is April 15th, give or take, a holiday like a Sunday or a special holiday that lands. But this is kind of that time. Again, we're hanging out in February. There's a time where you really want to get your stuff together. The tax system can be super slow. I don't know if it is where you are, but the United States can be super slow. And April 15th is the deadline to get all your paperwork in, have it signed, and have it put in. That doesn't mean that you start to work on your taxes on April 15th. You hope for the best. I wish what I was thinking earlier, but you can just Google it or do a search on it. Where if you look at a news footage, particularly back in the day, where it would be April 14th or April 15th, and you see the lines looking like a Black Friday line. If you're familiar with American shopping, the day after Thanksgiving, we're looking like a Black Friday line outside of the post office. You don't want to be one of those people. I think it might have been maybe 1 or 2 years where I was one of those people. My family was one of those people because the post office has to stay open till like midnight to make sure legally it's postmarked, it's stamped for April 15th. You don't want to be those people, particularly when you're on your own business. I remember early early days of me running my business and me not understanding how certain things worked or how things were structured and learning how to separate me from my business, learning to do the deductibles and things of that nature. And those things can get really complicated. Luckily, I've had great CPAs, had tax preparers in the past. Now I have CPAs and folks that I work with. Thank you. I appreciate y'all. Y'all are doing, as they say, y'all are doing the Lord's work. I appreciate that. And so to make sure that you're in a good place for that. When you first start your business, though, you might not be able to literally make enough money to hire a CPA or to work with a tax preparer. Now, you can have the traditional companies, I'm not even going to name them, no sponsorship here, but the traditional companies that might be on your corner, if you live in a major city like Las Vegas, you know what they are. Some of them begin with one letter and they and another letter, et cetera, et cetera. They go from there. They might be able to help you, but there might be limitations as far as how far they can help you because you're running a small business. A lot of the tax prepared companies, the major ones that you can just walk into and have your taxes done for $50 or $75, they're actually built for more like working class, blue collar, white collar, as we used to say. I think they have different terms now. They're built for people that have 9 to 5s. That's what I'm trying to say to you. 9 to 5s or whatever hours you work. They're based on that. But if you have a side hustle, it gets a little bit more complicated. So there's some tools that I would recommend that might help you on your way. If you're in that space between, okay, I don't have a business, I just have a 9 to 5, which shout out to my family members and the folks who have 9 to 5s. That's beautiful. There's a place for that. And then there's also the folks that are big enough where they have an accountant on staff, right? A lot of us, though, including myself, are somewhere in between. Here are tools that help you when you're in between. And even if you're not at a place yet where you can afford or your business isn't big enough to have a CPA or a tax preparer. So let's talk about them. The first one I would recommend would be QuickBooks. If you've been a long fan of the show, this is episode 412. So shout out if you've been watching this whole time for the last 4.5 years. You know, I've been a long time QuickBooks user, way back to when I lived in New Orleans. And man, long time ago, I left the year that Katrina hit. So that gives you an idea. You can do the math when I was living in New Orleans. And I distinctly remember getting involved with QuickBooks because I think I just got my first, I think I got my first book deal around that period of time, a long time ago. Again, this is my 27th book. So it gives you an idea as far as how far back that was. And it came to a period of time where me doing like everything, at least again, I'm going to speak from an American perspective. I've only lived in America. You can go to irs.gov, look it up. I would have put in the links, but I can put in the post links, and you can download literally, almost literally every form you need from irs.gov. At least as of when taxes were done last year. A lot of stuff going on with government right now, so I can't guarantee that's happening right now. But for the most part, irs.gov will give you all the forms. But then being able to fill out the forms, knowing the right form. Sometimes you get a form and it says, okay, refer to forms 30C 508B over here, and it gets really complicated. QuickBooks was able and allowed me, number one, to understand where my money was going, and number two, what to actually fill in on these tax forms. And I don't mean that as far as it literally saying, fill this in on this level. What I meant is, okay, oh, I spent $5,000 on travel because I was traveling back and forth to New York to go visit my agent and to go to these journalism conferences circa the year that Katrina happened. Oh, okay. It actually organizes and helps you get your stuff together, get your budget together, so you know what to do and how much you've actually made. Now, I use spreadsheets and other things now. Of course, I have a tax preparer and also a CPA right now, so it's different. But in those early days, it helped out a lot. They actually have a special thing. I believe it's the link right here, where not only do you get a discount through me, but also you also get a focus with them with QuickBooks Small Business. QuickBooks Small Business really is focused on a step above that. The original QuickBooks, which I had again years ago, that was focused more on the individual or small family, right? Again, I was using this back when I was single with no kids. Now they have small business QuickBooks, which allows you to expand a little bit and talks about more about those deductions, those things that people with a 9 to 5 don't need to worry about, but that we need to be concerned about, right? So there's line item in there, as they call it. I think it's called food and entertainment, something like that. They always change the name of it, or I always forget the name of it. One of the two, one of the two. It always changes, but I forget why it changes. But it might just be me. But I think it's called food and entertainment, and it basically means when you're going out to dinner, and I would go out to dinner, say with my book agent who was shopping my book. In other words, trying to find a publisher for my book. That flight to New York, but particularly me having dinner with them, there's a certain percentage of that, which changes often. Certain percentage of that, steak and shrimp meal or whatever, that actually can be deducted from my taxes. Again, this is back in the day. It's a little bit more complicated now because I have my own business, but back in the day, it was like that. This can address those kinds of things and help you out with those kind of things. So be sure and check them out. It's called QuickBooks Small Business. It just launched probably about a year ago. I mentioned it on some previous episodes, but be sure and check them out. Again, through the link. That'll tell them that I sent you, and then I think there's a special discount that's happening right now. Be sure and check them out, bro. It's tax season. That's why I'm doing it right now. Be sure and check them out. If you want to go even deeper, there's one called Zero. I know it's spelled like that, but it's pronounced like the number zero. It always messes with my brain, but it is pronounced zero. Zero is good because it's like taking this to the next level. So let's say you start to have some employees. Let's say that your business starts to get well into the six figures. Let's say the energy shifts and you need something more robust. Zero is compliant to a lot of the major things that your respective government probably needs. It could be US, it could be Canada, it could be Mexico. So a lot of the major countries, for lack of a better term, that deal with the financial compliance. I'll put it like that. Zero rocks with them. I know international clients that I consult for that use Zero as their stuff. So it's kind of a higher level, I'd say a mid grade. So before you go out and get the CPA and get your in-house accounting firm and all that stuff, Zero will be a next step to that. Again, this is a referral link, as you see with the partner links, the special that they have going on too. Again, you click on it, that will tell them that you came from Bring Your Worth TV, and then she'll get you the special. So you might have been working with more of an ad hoc or more of a casual platform and realize that it's not working for you. Maybe you have, again, two or three employees, maybe you just got your first employee and it's not going to fit into that 9 to 5 or side hustle box. Again, I know some major companies that work with Zero. So this is your next level of it. It is going to be more expensive than the more traditional ones that work with 9 to 5 employees. Like if you're working a 9 to 5, Zero, you don't really need it. But if your side hustle is turning into something bigger, you need something more robust, check out Zero. Again, highly recommended from folks that I have as clients, so they're paying me and working with me through Zero. So that tells you that higher level. The last one is very American centric. It's tax1099.com. I just learned about them recently. They actually are one of the few organizations that's certified and or qualified and or certified to work with the U.S. government. So you can actually pay your taxes through them. I will throw the link in the replay, but there actually is a link on irs.gov that shows them as one of their premium partners. There's only a handful of them. You can work with Tax99 to find out the best forms that you need, just like I was talking about at the top of the show a few minutes ago. You can get the best insight as far as your deductibles and all things of that nature. Unlike going to one of the tax firms down the street, no shots at them. I've worked with them. I have no problem with them. But unlike that, these folks are actually certified by the US government, by irs.gov, number one. Number two, they can point you in the right direction, particularly for that type of small business or side hustle you have. And as your business grows, you need to make sure that your taxes are straight. My business has grown over the last few years, so I've been very diligent as far as thinking about how to structure things the best way. We talked about that again in the previous episode about protecting your business in case of disasters or changes. That's part of that discussion. You could look at the link below and check out last week's episode. But this is a good part of that conversation. So, yeah, where are y'all at? Are y'all working on your taxes right now? I know I'm finishing up mine as we speak. Do you want to go and get a better structure as far as your business? Is your business growing in a way where you're realizing you need to restructure? Love to hear it in the comments. Yeah, and that's kind of the process that we're in. This is the season here in the States. I don't know when tax seasons usually are in other overseas countries, but let us know. Is this your tax season? And has your business grown enough where you're starting to think about how do I want to restructure things? And are there certain tools or practices you're using to make sure that your taxes are on point every year? Jump in the comments, let us know. I'm entrepreneurial coach Damon Brown here to help you as a side hustle solopreneur, otherwise a non-traditional entrepreneur. And you're watching Bring Your Worth TV. Get out of my mouth. And today, we are talking about getting your money together 2025. What are you doing this year to get your money together? Is there a certain way that you can level that up? That's all that we're talking about today. How do I get my business on point in 2025? Such an important thing. We're talking about the financial part of it, as you can see by the title, and that deeper part when it comes to getting the budget together, getting the structure together, getting those things together so that you can have a stronger business. It really comes down to the brass tacks. If you don't have the brass tacks together, then the rug's not going to stay on the floor. It's going to be all over the place. I'm able to be fully present with you because I made decisions, even started to make decisions last year, which I look forward to talking with you about in a future episode. Decisions I've made over the past year allows me to be fully present with you, to connect with you, to support you, because I know the little things and those details are taken care of. That's what it has to be about this year. If you can go to a higher level, there's a lot of stuff going on right now. And what I love for you to be able to do is to not be as distracted. If you have your business together, if you have your structure together, if you know what your taxes look like, if you know how your company or business is incorporated or not incorporated. If you know what your future is going to look like, if you're going to hire an employee or a virtual assistant, if you know what products you might want to roll out, it becomes a lot easier when you know how your business is structured. Again, there's business structure decisions I made last year that hopefully will make this year better. And there's decisions that I'm already starting to think about for this year that'll make next year better. Let's go ahead and kind of expand it out and figure out what tools will help us get to where we need to be. One of my favorite new tools, I mentioned them last week, is called Doula, Doula. Oh my gosh, not Li. I know how to spell it. And I know real doulas. I don't know why I can't spell it. Listen, Doula is really cool because it allows you to get the paperwork you need to figure out the business that you want to structure. If you want an LLC, if you want a sole proprietorship, if you want a DBA, which is doing business as, if you want, I believe they do B Corps and S Corps. Like they do a lot. They do a lot. I'm not going to go through the laundry list, but they're the hookup to allow you to get those particular things done. Again, I can speak for the states, but we need certain paperwork to get certain things done. We can't do the handshake. We can't go and just fill out this quick form, then we're off to the races. It's usually a little bit more complicated than that. There's usually fees a lot of with that. I was surprised when I was looking to, excuse me, change the nature of my business, all those things. And that can be quite expensive. It's like some of the decisions early on I was going to make with my business. And I was like, I mean, way early on, like years ago. And I was like, I can't afford that. Oh my God. But that certain barrier to entry and the guidance through that labyrinth, labyrinthian, I think is the word, process, they can help with that and get you to the right place at the right time. Be sure and check them out. They've been a interesting and legit company that's come up over the past year or two, and I like what they're doing. So be sure and check them out. Again, you get a special referral if you end up coming through me, special for Bring Your Worth TV folks. Another one, which is very, very niche, but very important, is called Treasury Software. I just learned about them over the past year as well. Another partner of the program. Here's what they do. They allow you to make sure that when you're paying other people, particularly employees and things like that, they make sure your stuff is certified. So, one example could be if you're paying certain employees, you're giving them a check. There's certain ways and methods that check's supposed to go through, whether it's going to, at least here in the States, so the Social Security and all that stuff, they will help with that. The second part of it, again, just with this one example, is that they will actually help if there ends up being fraud or issues with the checks that are being sent. So we think about business, at least I think about business, where it's like, oh, okay, I'm going to hire someone for this. Here you go. Here's your money. Done. It might need to be mentioned on taxes, particularly their taxes. It might not need to be, depending on the price of the services and how their business is structured, et cetera, et cetera. When you have an employee or you have people that are under your aegis, let's get fancy with the legal terms now. Aegis basically means shield or umbrella. So they're under the umbrella of your company. Then what happens when you're sending them their biweekly check or bi-monthly check or what have you, and then there's check fraud that happens, or that someone does something suspicious to it, or they don't get the money? For the average company, you're going to be SOL. You're going to be in trouble. This actually helps with that as far as dealing with fraud protection, making sure that it's getting to the right person, make sure that the authorities, particularly here in the US, can cover those types of things. So it's really cool software. One thing I forgot to mention with Doula, and this part's really important, is that they also specialize or they have a strength in helping companies that are not in the US get established in the US. I have a lot of immigrants in my family. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. And so if you're trying to coming from overseas and trying to set up a business here or setting up a structure, I was born and raised in America. It's confusing to me. I'm not gonna lie. Even as a business coach, I'm not gonna lie to you. This stuff's confusing. That's why I hire people. Shout out to my CPA. Shout out to my tax preparer. You know who you are. Imagine coming from another place. You might be from another place. And you're like, this feels confusing. It is. That's the secret. It is. Doula can actually help with that as well. Doula is a play on words because doulas are actually um, We used to call them midwives, people that actually help other people give birth. They're helping you give birth to your business. Forgot to add that with doula. Shout out to doula. With treasury software, though, they get into nitty gritty. There's a step that I was talking about where I don't have any employees, but if I did, working with someone like treasury software would be awesome because then I could sleep at night. Don't have to worry about fraud or the check going to the wrong place or the mishmash of stuff. And then I'm on the hook because of the taxes related to it or whatever types of activities that might be related to it. That doesn't mean you don't have a lawyer. They don't replace the lawyer. I think they would agree with that. And again, I'm not a CPA nor a lawyer. I'm not a professional. But if you're going to be in the business game and you want your business to grow, certain people that I coach, I'm a business coach, I've coached hundreds of people, and certain people are like, I just want to do a side hustle and do something small. That's cool. I've been in that camp. I have my share of side hustles now. Some folks are like, I'm going to be a billionaire and I'm going to have this chain of such and such or da da da, which is cool. I've coached y'all too. Shout out to y'all. Both are valid. But if you're in the latter camp, you need to have the structure. If you're not going to have a little side hustle, you want to have a chain of things. You want to have the big things. Doesn't mean you can't doesn't mean you can't get rich or make good money on the small things. What I'm saying is that if your ambitions are to have something that's big, I have small companies. I sold some small companies. That was my last startup that was acquired. If you want big companies, you need to have the structure in place. That's what we're really talking about today. If you're going from mid-size to bigger, you're not just doing the small business thing. You need to get on this. This is really where the audience is for that. If you're going in that direction, I'd say structure it now. Just like I have passive income that I built over the years because I knew this is the direction I was going to be going. I knew these gray hairs are going to be coming in. I knew the kids were going to be coming. All those things. It's like so I started planting that passive income way back in the day. And now it's starting to pay off. Quite literally, same energy. If you know you're going to want to have a big business and your business is going that direction, get these structures in now. Plug in the treasury software. Shout out to them. And yeah, I appreciate the work that they're doing. As I mentioned earlier, last week's episode is a nice pairing with this week's episode. That's disaster preparedness for entrepreneurs, getting to ways you can structure your business, back up literally your software and your hardware to make sure you're good, and to make sure that no matter what happens financially in global markets, you know, um, even with like climate stuff and there's a fire in your home, whatever, there are ways, provisions you can take to help protect your stuff. We talk about it a lot in the episode. So, how are y'all getting together as far as getting your business on point? What are you trying to do in this new year that didn't work last year, frankly? Is there a way where you're like, I could have tightened up last year, I'm going to tighten up this year? I feel like this year, and I mentioned this before, but a lot of people feel this way. I feel like this year almost hasn't started yet. There's so much government and political stuff going on. It's kind of hard to tune it out, to be honest. Get involved with it, but not have it overwhelm you. You can probably understand that balance. There's so much stuff going on as far as, excuse me, excuse me, as far as the United States and the climate stuff that's been going on. Shout out to loved ones that have been affected by the LA fires and all the stuff that's going on. And I feel like we're kind of playing catch up a little bit. Definitely, I feel that way. Maybe you do. Now it feels like we're almost on kind of timeout. But at a certain point, the stuff that's going on in the US and other governments will not be the focal point. At a certain point, hopefully, knock on wood, it won't be some climate change related disaster that's happening that has our focus. At a certain point, we're going to be still. And the thing that's going to be here is ourselves, our loved ones, and our business. So we have this unique opportunity, even in this chaos, to structure our business more. I know I certainly am. You can look at my eyes. I'm not playing with y'all. There's certain decisions I'm making where I'm like, that's the direction our business needs to be in. And frankly, with the different things that are happening, depending on the type of business you have, the people that you serve might really need you. Like crisis, like life and death, like you could be the shining light for the person that is having a tougher time than you are. But to do that, though, You got to have your business together. You can't help other people if you're out of business. How are you getting your business on point? This is one of the reasons why I do the work that I do. There's so many of us that want to make an impact in the world, want to serve, um, but we don't have the structure together. Um, we don't know where to start, and so we don't start, or we start, and it's a false start and we fall apart. I'm here to help with that as much as possible. Hopefully, these links will help. But how are you trying to get your business on point into the next level in the future? Let us know in the comments. My entrepreneurial coach, obviously. See my soapbox rant. My entrepreneurial coach, Damon Brown, here to help you as a side hustler, a solopreneur, otherwise a non-traditional entrepreneur. Bring Worth TV, coming to you live Wednesdays at 1:11 p.m. Pacific time, Vegas time, even during allergy season. And I appreciate y'all. Thank you for tuning in. All right, the fun part. How can we get our money on point? We talked about taxes. Through making money, at least in most countries, you're gonna pay taxes. At least you should be. Yeah, hopefully you are. So you're paying taxes. Getting your business together means getting that structure together, making sure that you're moving forward and that you can withhold or withstand any type of growth that you have in the near future. And I wish you all the growth that you can handle and that you want. But then it comes down to the money. Where does that money go? What do I do with that money? I remember when I first started keynote speaking several years ago, and I remember getting my first check. Yes, it was just for a few $100s. Getting my first check, and I didn't know what the hell to do with myself. Then a handful of years later, getting my first five-figure check from public speaking, and I was just it was a EFT. It was just a direct deposit. There was no physical check, I don't think, not for that one. And I was looking, and I was like, and not knowing what to do with it. And no, I didn't blow it at the casino here in Vegas. I took care of my family, but very boring stuff that I took care of it with. But the point is that if you're asking for this abundance, as they say, this abundance, this strength, this insight, this growth in this year, okay, you get the growth. Then what? What are you going to do with that money? I mean, I don't need to know. You don't need to tell. Got 18,000 subscribers right now. You don't have to tell all the subscribers, but you need to know. Your loved ones probably should know, especially if you have a partner or whatever. If you have a CPA or something like that, they should probably know too. So what are you doing? What are you doing with it? Here's some tools I recommend to go ahead and check out if you're trying to figure it out, because at a certain point, you're going to get that growth that you've been hoping for days, weeks, months, years, even decades. There's stuff that's happening now that I wished for decades ago. Not exaggerating at all, but I went beyond a wish and actually, ideally, doing the work necessary to make it happen. And it's starting to happen literally now, which is amazing. But the thing is that once those things start to happen, you have to know what to do with it. Someone gives you $100,000 check, and you've been living on $1,000 a year. It's easy to kind of blow that. And so you have to figure out what exactly structures you're going to put in place when you get the growth that you've been hoping for. One new one that was brought to my attention, shout out to y'all that reached out, investing.com. This allows you to invest in different types of stocks. I started to get more into understanding stock portfolios, other things, frankly, in recent years, and getting deeper into that. Shout out to the CPAs I worked with, other people that have schooled me on it, as well as books and good friends that got me into the game. Investing.com is a good way to look into it and figure out how you want to invest. I am not a CPA or a financial planner. It's not financial advice. Not sound like one of those shows, but it's important to notify that. Yeah, we can talk about entrepreneurship and startups and all those things. This one I'm going to tread lightly because this is not my expertise. Again, I'm still learning. One important thing to understand though is that particularly through the stock market, you're able to invest and essentially own a small slice or a piece of the companies that are considered public. Public companies are ones that are saying, hey, Our whole business, we want people to own pieces of it. And you pay money to own a piece of it, and then you can trade it out based on the laws of that area. You can trade it out whenever you want, and we expect our business to grow, so then you'll get money back from it as an investor. So when people say they own stock in Microsoft or Apple or whatever, that's what they mean. There's also things that are called index funds, which are like uh, basket. I think they literally call it basket. Shout out to my economics teacher back in grad school, but they call it a basket of goods. So it's a basket of things, a basket of stocks that are related to technology, a basket of stocks that are related to exercise and health, basket of stocks that are related to whatever you are into. You can then buy a piece of that basket instead of buying the individual stocks. That's called an index fund. Both of them are great. If you're not sure where to start, index funds are a good place to start because then they end up having this average of whatever thing that you're into. If there's one that you're really passionate about, you can research it and get that particular stock. Investing.com gets into that, explains that for you. It's a great place to start. Whether you're doing your business or just for as an individual, having a budget, I don't know what a budget is. Sounds like a French word. Having a budget is really important. SoFi, actually, I work with them quite a bit, just on a personal level, not even me doing partnerships and stuff, just on a personal level. I work with SoFi, love their stuff. They have a really simple app that allows you to keep track of your finances. As you can tell, they have checkings and savings. That's the link right here, where you can actually have your checkings and checkings. Man, this language today. Checking and savings. Why is savings plural, but checking is singular? I think that mistake was on purpose. You can set it up there. They actually have interest rates that are well above the traditional banks and even the credit unions. Shout out to the credit unions. So you can work with them on that. There's the link right there, as well as they have investment tools similar to investing.com that I just talked about, as well as other tools that will help you with credit card debt, things of that nature. Be sure and check them out. I like their app quite a bit. I have some favorite apps that I used to use. If you ever use financial apps, you probably know what apps I'm talking about. And a lot of them have died over the last few years. One of them was one of my favorite apps of all time, and they got acquired and died, unfortunately. SoFi's app is a really good second place to those that I've loved and those that I've lost. Rest in peace to those apps, but it's a really good way to keep track of your stuff. It updates relatively quickly too, so you connect it to your respective checking or savings accounts or credit cards, or whatever, student loans, whatever you happen to have. And then I think it updates every 24 hours, something like that. But it's a really cool app, works really well. All the services I'm talking about, whether it's you getting a loan or getting credit card help or doing your checking and savings, all within one app. And I think it's really nicely designed. I wouldn't recommend it if I wasn't rocking with it. I rock with SoFi. Be sure and check them out and see what's happening there. If you're like, hey, Damon, I don't even know, I'm trying to just balance my checking account. I don't even know how to balance my checking account. This would be a good place to start. Again, the app makes it really easy. If you happen to be into crypto, then Kraken actually is one of the most reliable services. There's been a lot of drama in the past 4 to 5 years with my friends that are into crypto. They've been schooling me on it. They're like, don't trust this service, that service, all that. Kraken is actually pretty strong if you're interested in getting involved with Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, or any of those cryptos. I've actually done work in the metaverse, and I've actually consulted with some of those businesses. And so the crypto thing, it's here to stay in some form. Interested, if you're interested in getting involved, you can use my link. Actually, it's not even my link, it's just kraken.com. But they've been one of the most reliable ones on there if you're looking to tiptoe and that type of thing. That will fall into the investing part, but definitely crypto will be way more the wild, wild west, probably closer to investing in startups and things like that, which, depending on where you're coming from, that might not be your cup of tea. No pun intended. Might not be your cup of tea, but if you're going to get into it, Kraken would be a good place to start. So, what are y'all looking to do to get your money on point? Are you looking to balance your personal budget more? Are you looking to upgrade your business so you get to a higher level? Are you looking to find more structure that so that you know where your financial money is going? Excuse me. I'd love to know in the comments. Let me know what's happening. So I think there's a lot of good insight that you might be able to share with other folks. You can subscribe to Greenhorse TV. It's free, available, 412 episodes, counting today. It's been an amazing run. I appreciate y'all. I'm entrepreneurial coach Damon Brown. I'm here to help you as a side hustler, solopreneur, or otherwise a non-traditional entrepreneur. You're watching Bring Your Worth TV Wednesdays live. Allergies or not, 1:11 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, Vegas time. I appreciate y'all. Jump in the comments. Let me know how you guys are getting your money on point, whether it comes to your budget, whether it comes to your taxes, or whether it comes to your investing. I know for myself, all three of them are on my agenda. Like I said, I'm working on my taxes right now, and getting the receipts together and all that fun stuff. That is important, tedious, but very important, particularly here in when it comes to the IRS and American taxes. I'm working on my budget. I literally have a budget sheet over here right now, so I'm working on that, getting the stuff together, and doubling down on the investing. I really got more serious about investing last year, and have been happy with, at minimum, how my mindset has shifted and taking things more seriously when it comes to having my money work for me. So even if you're watching the replay, let us know in the comments, what are you working on? Until next time, maybe you can always bring your worth. You can always build from now. Take care of yourselves and others.